right. So yeah, I could pull off this color. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think I could.
Yes. Yes.
Anyhow,
100%.
I thought it was going to be a bob, and I was going to freak Pam out and be like, "I got my haircut." Nonsense. All right, so I am going to do a demonstration for you guys about our fridge smarts as well as our freezer mates and how this is like a 1-2 punch for your kitchen, right? So for years and years, right? So for years and years, I have talked about the fridge smarts and that they are, these have been my top sellers for 18 years. Let me just kind of pivot this down. You don't need to see my ceiling. You want to see the products, right? Hello. All right. Oh, I almost dropped you. All right. So, all right. So I've been in Tupperware 18 years, and for 18 years, these have been my top sellers, right? And just because they save you so much money. And when I first started in Tupperware, that was my main focus, was saving money. That was my main focus at the time for me and my family. And the economy at the time was kind of on shaky ground, mostly due to unemployment. Right, this was back in 2007. So it was mostly due to unemployment, like 2007, 8-ish, right? And so I couldn't go to a party without somebody actually, honestly, a lot of times it was over 50% of the room was somehow impacted by unemployment. Whether it was they personally were unemployed, somebody in their household was unemployed, they just came off of unemployment, or any of that, right? And so I went into every party talking about saving money, your food budget, all of that, right? And so this was the star, right? This is what I talked about. And people dated parties to get them cheaper. They joined to get them cheaper and to make some money, right? So lots of different reasons why these were the hero, right? And so the fridge smarts, right? So the fridge smarts, as you know, right? They make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. And we always say 3 to 4 times longer and don't give it anything specific, right? Because it just simply because we don't know how old that fruit or vegetable is when you brought it home, right? You could shop the bargain bin that's like the last the last ditch effort for them to try and get any money out of that fruit and vegetable, right? You know that section, right? Where you go, and sometimes I'll kind of take a look at it, I'm like, ooh, that was on the way to the garbage, right? It should have kept going, right? So if you shop from that section, no shame in that game, right? Okay. And so it will make it last longer, but it still might not be very long, okay? So, but it will make it last 3 to 4 times longer than it would have, right? So the way that these work, right, they work in several different ways. One of the ways is through our vent, right? So all your fruits and vegetables, they emit gases, right? So they need to be properly vented, right? So that is this sliding thing right here. That's the vent. So, and then another way that they make your fruits and vegetables last longer is that they're hard, right? So this is a nice hard container, so it's going to protect it. And you know what it protects us from? Us, right? Because we're in there and we're just like, I do not want something healthy right now. I'm looking for, the leftovers from last night that are greasy and not good for me, right? So you're pushing everything around in there, right? And so your fruits and vegetables, they bruise just like an apple does. You just don't see it right away. But when you see lettuce is kind of a good example. If you see your lettuce and it starts to kind of age in spots, that's probably because that's where it's been damaged, traumatized, right? From us pushing it around, right? So that's what happens. So this protects it, right? So even if we are shoving in there, right, it's going to keep it protected and keep it from getting smashed and smushed. And another thing too, and we're all guilty of this too, right? You come home from the store, you got all these fruits and vegetables, and you're trying to put them in that drawer, and you're just like, I know I can fit one more thing, and you're shoving it all down, right? Yeah, no, that's not good, right? This keeps that from happening, right? And then another way is this thing at the bottom here, right? So this is like a drainage ditch, right? Because your fruits and vegetables naturally emit water as they age. This lets that water drain down here, and then this part here allows your fruit or vegetable to sit up out of that water so it doesn't get all mushy on the bottom, right? We've all seen it. I always use a pepper as an example because a pepper looks so beautiful on top, and then you pick it up and you're like, oh, good, what? No, right? You're like, oh, I've got peppers, and then you're like, oh, good, what in the what? That's what our feet would look like if we stood in water for 2 days, right? That's what happened to your pepper, okay? So we don't want that. Now, here's the most important part, and it's really all you really need to know, right? The most important part is what you have to do. And so when you get home from the store, the main thing that you have to do is you have to find whatever fruit or vegetable that you're about to store. So let's just say that you're going to store some peppers, right? You got some peppers, they're right there, right? So you find your fruit or vegetable, you find the little dot in the corner, that indicates how you're going to vent it. You find the coordinating dot up here, you slide the slider over to where that dot is on the top, you dump your vegetable in here, you're done. Okay, that's all you got to do. All right, so that is like 30 to 60 seconds worth of work, right? It's really less than 30 seconds worth of work. I'm just allowing for you to get distracted, okay? So it is so little work that you have to do. And it like, that's all you have to do. Like, so many times people are like, I watch a reel and they're like, I have cracked the code on making fruits and vegetables last longer. And then they give you this like, I don't know, like 6-step plan, and it's like a 20-minute procedure. I'm like, I don't have time for that, right? This 30 seconds, you bring it home, find the picture, find the dot, line this up, dump it in, you're done. That's it. That's all you got to do. Okay. You don't even have to wash it. You don't have to prep it. All you got to do is dump it in here. Now it needs to be dumped, right? So, because remember, always bear in Tupperware. Okay. With everything, our modular mates, these, everything, always bear in Tupperware. You don't want the wrapper in there. You don't want the bag in there. You don't want the little clamshell-y crate thing it came in. None of that stuff. Always bear in Tupperware. It goes in here. You're good to go, right? So the set is fantastic, right? Because as all the different sizes, I always recommend people to start with a set, because you're quickly going to realize, like, okay, I need 2 more of these. I need 1 more of this size, and then I'm good, right? But you don't really, like, if you're starting with 1, you're like, oh, I don't know which size to get. What do I use? You know, and you're just not sure. The other thing that's important to know too is that you can mix and match, right? So as long as your fruit and vegetable are from that same venting family, so as long as they're in the same column together, you can put them all in the same container, okay? So that's important to know too. So you don't have to segregate them. You can put them all in the same container. All right, so those are fridge smarts, and they will. And so the fridge smart is like nature's slow motion button. Okay. Like, so it slows down the aging process, right? So it buys us time so that we can get to all of the good intentions that we had in the grocery store, right? When we bought all these wonderful things, right? So this is nature's like slow-mo. Okay. Now let's talk about our freezer containers. All right. So our freezer containers, don't mind the colors. Okay. These literally came out of my freezer. They're full of food. Okay. I didn't have the set. I sold the set the other day for my stock. And so I was like, when I got asked to do a demo, this is like riding Mac. When I got asked to do the demo, I was like, well, I can pull them out of my freezer. I mean, this is like literal, this is how much I use them. Okay. So this is nature's pause button. So the freezer is nature's pause button. So this slows down the aging. This literally stops it. Okay. So when my husband and I owned a coffee shop, right? Sorry. When my husband and I owned a coffee shop, we bought bakery from a local baker, right? To have in our bakery case. And they're the ones that told us that. We're like, what do we do to keep it fresh? And they were like, pick it up from us and put it in the freezer. And he said this to me, that's nature's pause button. And I was like, oh. And he said, so when you're ready to serve it, take it out and just let it sit out. Don't microwave it. Just let it sit out for 30 minutes, or while you're getting the store ready. That'll be enough thaw time. It'll be good to go. I'm like, okay, cool. So then fast forward 2 years later, and here I am a Tupperware lady, and I was demonstrating these, and it just came right out of my mouth. I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like that recall, right? So, but it is truly nature's pause button. So, so I have a background in restaurants, guys, right? So, and all that stuff. And I had to take food safety. I had to get certified food safety, blah, 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 blah. Right. And it is actually one of the things that's like always running in the back of my brain. I'm always calculating, like, how much time do I have left on this meat? How much time, blah, 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 right? Temperatures, all this stuff. Okay. It's just like ingrained. So one of the things that's really important to know about freezing stuff is you want it to freeze fast and thaw fast. That's why this size is actually my favorite size, right? It freezes fast, it thaws fast. And the thing I love about this size in particular is, so for example, what's in here? Pulled pork. There's pulled pork in here, okay? So this is pulled pork. And this is like, this is actually a decent sized serving. I mean, you don't eat like pulled pork just with a fork, right? You put it on a sandwich, you put it on things, right? But if this was like chili, let's just say this was chili. So if this was like chili, this would be like a bowl of chili because this is like a 1 3/4 cup. So this is a perfect serving size for you, right? So this froze really fast, right? So it didn't get in the danger zone very long. The danger zone is like that temperature where bacteria grows, right? So it freezes really fast. It thaws really fast. I can thaw this out in about 4 minutes in my microwave, right? Don't use these. All you do, I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna open this. So all you do is just pull on the side and see how it just separated there. And then you pull on the sides here. Oh, that smells good. And pull the sides here, right? So it just separated on all those sides. Now, I don't want to do this because I don't want to fall on my counter. So you turn it over, and when I push on the bottom, it's going to slide out like an ice cube, right? And so I put it right into one of our microwavable containers. I'm not going to microwave in here, right? Because it has a stain guard in there. I know it's invisible, but it is actually there. So there's a stain guard in there. Now, if I microwave in here, that's going to damage the stain guard. It's going to pit. It's going to start staining. It's going to do all that stuff. We don't want that, right? So put it in a microwavable container. Now, if you don't have one of our microwavable containers yet, that's okay. Knock this out into a bowl, into a pot. If you put it into a bowl that can go into the microwave, that's perfect. Just cover it. Do it how you normally do it, right? You put it into a pot and heat things up in a pot. You can do it that way as well, right? So it's fantastic for this. But here is why I like this container the best, right? So if this was a bowl, if this was chili, and I wanted chili that day for lunch, I could thaw this out and I have chili for me. Now, let's say I've got chili in this. So I have chili in this, but I'm the only one who wants chili. So I gotta thaw out this whole blasted thing to get my chili, okay? This is huge, and it would take me a very, very long time to thaw this out, right? And I'd have to thaw it out probably in a pot. It'd be a big pain and whatever. And so I don't want to do that, right? And then I'd be eating chili for days. Somebody else would have to, I'd be like, hey, who wants chili? Because I thawed out all this chili, right? But the other thing too is, remember the freeze fast, thaw fast thing? This takes a very long time to freeze, just like it takes a long time to thaw. So you're always running the risk of that little danger zone, right? If I put my chili in here hot, even when it's in the freezer freezing, there's going to be a period of time that this is in that danger zone that bacteria grows, right? So that's always food for thought. Now, what's in here is actually meatballs. So there's meatballs in here. So there's so much space in there between my meatballs that this probably froze pretty decently fast. But if I had chili in there, it's really dense. So it takes a long time. Now in restaurants, what they do to freeze their chili is they actually take like an ice popsicle and stick it right down in the middle of the chili to help it freeze fast so that they don't have that bacteria growth, right? So the thing is if you have your chili in here and I just want one portion, I can thaw this out. If I want 2 portions, I'll grab 2. If I want 3, I can grab 3. If I want 4, I can grab 4, right? But if I just want one portion and this is the only thing I have of chili, I gotta thaw out this whole doggone thing, right? So that's the reason why this size is my favorite size, is this little size here, because I can control the portions a little bit easier, right? So, so when it comes to like meal prepping and things like that, these are my jam. These are my jam because like years and the thing is like we've had our freezer mates forever, guys, forever. I mean, they've been in the line the whole time I've been in Tupperware, but I'm telling you, I slept on them for years and years. I use them like, oh, I'm going to put this in the freezer. Oh, I'll get one of those freezer containers. And I just throw something in the freezer and I just throw it in here. That's not, I mean, that's great, but that is not how to use it as a system. So about like 8 years ago or so, I started using it as a system and it blew my mind. And now, honestly, yes, they save me a ton of money and that's really great. But the big thing that they do more than anything else is they save me from overwhelm, because almost like every day I'm always thinking, what can I do today that I'm going to be, that tomorrow me is going to thank me for, right? Whether it's working my business, whether it's cleaning my house, whether it's prepping food, whatever it is, right? And just the other day was a perfect example. I was going to make chili and I was running out of time. And I said to Eric, I was like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to make chili, I got to da 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 da. And then he was just like, what can I do? And I was like, I don't know. And so and then finally I went out to the freezer and I had enough freezer containers to feed all of us chili. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not making fresh chili. We're eating out of the freezer tonight. I pulled everything in and that took a huge thing off of my list, right? and I could breathe, right? And so that's what this can do for you, right? Yes, it can save you money. It can do all those things. But what I did, what I started doing is like years ago when everybody's like meal prep with me and all those videos were really popular, that was wonderful. You know what it did? It made me like so frustrated because I didn't have time in my schedule. Oh, my kids are at home. Ella wasn't driving yet and she was my busy one. I was driving all over Northeast Ohio with her. I didn't have time to like sit down and meal prep for hours, right? So then I realized that all I had to do was like cook a double, triple, sometimes even quadruple batch of our favorite foods whenever I was cooking it already for dinner. And then all I do is line these up on the counter, these little ones. I line them up on the counter before I call anybody down to dinner, and I load them up with, let's see here. Okay, so this is a meatball meal. I put MB meal. That means meatball meal, right? And so I have rice and meatballs in here. Oh, there's corn in there too, right? So this is a meal, right? And then I got another meatball meal. Oh, those are chicken patties. What do we have? What do we have? So these are sage chicken patties, right? So, but I would make meals, right? I would make meals out of them. And so then I have my own freezer meals. Do you know you go to the freezer section? How expensive those doggone freezer meals are? Have you ever looked at the ingredients on those? It is crazy, the ingredients on those things. And we're paying top dollar for that. And then you try to buy the clean ones, those are double, sometimes triple the price, right? This meal probably cost me $1, right? And it's made with all whole foods because that's the way I cook. And it's gluten-free and dairy-free because that's how I cook, right? And I can, on a busy night, I can just heat this up and we're good to go, right? And so that is how I solved my meal prep problem. So then now I have a freezer full of freezer meals that anybody can go out there and tap into on a busy day. It's my cooking, they're my ingredients, and it's made with whole foods, and it's safe for everybody. Isn't that amazing? And then the other thing that I use them for is I use them to pre-prep things, right? So I do jump starts to meals. So these ones, it looks like more meatballs. I made a lot of meatballs a couple weeks ago. So a lot. So this one has Parmesan cheese in it, right? So I will pre-prep things, but a lot of times I will have ground beef that's not seasoned, and I'll have cooked and shredded chicken that's not seasoned. Ground beef that's not seasoned, I can turn that into meat sauce, tacos, sloppy joes, any sort of like a meat casserole type of a something, right? Shredded chicken, good Lord, I can do anything with shredded chicken. I can make it into chicken salad. I can make it into soup. I can make it into chicken casserole. I can make it into chicken quesadillas. I can make it into chicken tacos. I can make it so many different things, right? But it saves me 20 to 30 minutes on a busy night because I already got the protein cooked, right? So many things you can do. You can prep veggies, right? You can chop up your veggies. The next time that you're chopping vegetables, your carrots, your celeries, your onion, chop up some extra, pop them in here, and now you have them ready to go, and you have a jump start to your next whatever, right? You have a jump start to your next thing. So yeah, so that's the best part about these doggone freezer mates. I mean, like I probably have 24 of this size. And the other day I ran out and I was like, what do you mean I'm out of freezer mates? They're all in the freezer, right? That's why I had to pull these out of the freezer to do this demo, right? So I cannot say enough good things about them. The other thing is we're using these hand in hand as your fruit or vegetable is about to turn before it grows a beard, okay? When it's mushy, but not that beard, okay? Take it and freeze it, right? So take your strawberries, freeze them in something like this. I like to freeze my fruits in these shallow ones. Freeze it in here, and now you have your fruit for your smoothies. I can't tell you the last time I bought fruit for smoothies because I always just rescue it before it goes to the garbage. And that to me is like free fruit vegetables because I was gonna throw them away. The other thing I like to use these for is, you know, when you have just like one scoop left of like your vegetables for dinner, but it's like, should I just pitch this or should I save it? It's literally one scoop. I mean, it doesn't even fit in a snack cup. Like it's so small. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I actually have these in there, and it has like, you know, it just says mixed veg. And every time I have that, I just like put that scoop in there. Then the next time I make vegetable soup, I have like all these crazy amount of mixed vegetables. There's beans in there. There's rice. Or not rice. There's corn. There's beans. There's gosh, one time I was like okra. I mean, like it doesn't matter the vegetable. Like broccoli, cauliflower. It doesn't matter if it's roasted, if I steamed it, if I boiled it. Sometimes it already has seasoning on it. It has butter, oil. It doesn't matter. And then it makes my soup that much richer. It has all these different flavors in there. And to me, that's like, again, like free vegetable because I was going to pitch it anyways, right? So many things that you can do with our freezer mates, guys. And and again, it's just shortcuts in the kitchen, and it does save you a lot of money. But it just really saves you so much overwhelm when you're constantly doing this and you work this into your everyday. And then it just becomes part of your everyday system. So those are our freezer mates and our fridge smarts. So back